Hello everyone, welcome to Caroline's Craft Tree. You're thinking, what on earth is Caroline up to today? Well, I am going to work on a 12 by 12 Junk Journal Challenge 2025. This is hosted by Scrapbook Sage. All these lovely ladies are doing this every month, and you can too, just by using that hashtag 12 by 12 Junk Journal Challenge 2025. So I hope that you will check all these ladies out. Now, what am I doing? Well, for me, this challenge is about using stuff up, getting stuff ready. Just, using all my stuff up. I got tons of scrapbooking stuff. Not really scrapbooking stuff, junk journal stuff, and I need to use it up. So, what am I doing today? Recently sorted my beads, and I have tons of these pearl type beads. This is not all of them. I have tons of them. These are just some that I put away that I could possibly do this project with. As far as I know, these are all just cheap pearl beads from cheap necklaces, earrings, etc. So we are going to dye some of these. Now, I don't even know if it's going to work, but we will find out. I got this here. Now this is for painting, but I'm thinking I could put a few beads in there. I'm going to use alcohol inks. Now I have lots of alcohol inks and I rarely ever use them. And I need to use it up. I really do. So I picked out a few colors. I've got butterscotch. I've got sunset orange. I've got a wild plum. I've got silver. And I have gold. I dug out my glass mat because I don't want to get this on my table. I hope the glare of the light is not too bad. Got some paper towels, and of course I got beads. I've got this little, it's just a little knitting needle, and I'm just going to use it to stir the beads. If it gets colored, I don't really care. I've got some little baggies too, because I also thought, well, maybe I could put the beads into here and put a couple drops of alcohol ink in there. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. I've used alcohol inks to dye a number of different things, and it does seem to dye most things. But what kind of color am I going to get? Is it going to be rich? Is it going to be faded? I don't know. So let's I'm not going to do a lot of beads at a time. Let's just put that many in there for now. Actually, let's do 5 of these. We'll space them out a little bit, because we're going to do all 5 of these colors just so we can get an idea of what kind of color we're looking at. The intensity of the color. Is it even going to work? I have no idea. But come along and let's see what we can do. Now if this works, I'm going to do like bigger batches. Let's start with the wild plum. We'll see how it's going to work. Let's take a couple out of here. Whoop, look out, runaway bead. Some of these are like white, some are a little bit off-white. Well, that's, wow, that's gonna be pretty intense at this point. Oh, look at that. Now that is, see, that's a good thing I spread them around a little bit. That's quite the intense color. I was not expecting it to be quite that intense. Okay, well, let's try. I'm going to do this butterscotch now. Put a couple drops in there. It's 4 drops. Want the lid on here because, and oh, that's a beautiful, very sunny color. And you can actually see some of the ones are different. Now I probably should take these out. They are sticking to the bottom, but I don't think that will matter. The alcohol ink does dry fast. Okay, let's try. What color is this? This is that sunset orange. Shake it up a little bit. Yeah, the lids are just about sealed on here. It's a little bit darker than that butterscotch one. I think if I was going to do a large number of beads, I think I would use the bags. These two colors would go very well together. Let's just stir these around. Now, if parts of them get darker because they're sitting in the alcohol ink longer, I don't think that's really going to matter. Okay, now we are going to try the silver. Now, I don't know, you're supposed to shake alcohol inks before you use them. I have no idea. This is the silver. Yeah, to me that has not done anything. Now that might be because all the silver is at the bottom. Yes, I can see all the silvers from there down. So this definitely is going to need shaking. So just give me a second here. And it is not shaking at all. No, that's not moving at all. Okay, so I'm going to guess the gold is going to be the same. Oh, the gold has a ball in it. So that might work out better. The silver didn't have a little ball thing in it. Maybe it's supposed to, but we'll try. We'll try it and see what happens. And I mean, it's probably been a few years since I've used these. Okay, now almost like the end is blocked on this. So I don't think the gold is going to work. No, it's just kind of getting it all dirty, like. So these may no longer be good. I don't know. I'll play with them and see. But instead of wasting the beads, let's go ahead. What color is this? Citrus. Let's go ahead and just dump some of that in with the silver. And let's stir that around. Very citrus color. I can definitely see the different colors of beads. Like that, all the beads weren't the same color. Let's just stir these other ones up. These ones aren't like dry. I can still see moisture of the alcohol inks. I just want to get a pair of tweezers so that I can take them out of those things. I've got a pair of dirty tweezers here. Let's find something else to put in with the gold. How about stream? Let's try that in here. No point in wasting those few beads. And let's give them a little stir. It's a nice color, that one. Okay, now what I want to do is let's pull them out and put them on a paper towel. Not sure if that's going to be the right choice, but this way we can kind of divide them up. They are a bit sticky, I guess, until the alcohol ink dries. Quite a variety of color, and some are kind of mottled, I guess. But we'll just kind of spread them out. And we'll kind of let them dry. Just with the alcohol ink, it shouldn't take long for them to dry. So we'll just kind of spread them out. You can see where some have more color than others. But don't we like that kind of stuff? We'll see how many I can fit on one piece of paper. I think even if they touch, I think they'll come apart easily. Let's move these orange ones off to this other side here. Now, trying not to mix the colors up, but these two colors here are quite similar, but this bead here is way shinier, so it's probably the type of bead that got used. I am surprised on how well the color got picked up. Have you ever tried to dye beads? I would love to know. And the paper towel might be fun to play with after I'm done too. You can tell that the green was way, well, I put on way more alcohol ink, I think. And because all the silver was in there, I think that is partly what did it. Hope everything's in frame here. This is a beautiful color, dark teal color. So, you know, this one here, you can see that, whoops, just gonna stir it around in there a bit. That's okay, because beads are all different colors. And I would use these on dangles, etc. But I wouldn't, I'd be more likely to use colors than I would use the white. So there is that. Let's set that aside. And let's take a peek at what we've got. Actually, before we go any further, whoops. I'm going to put some beads into a bag. I want to see which way would be easier and better. Yeah, I've got so many beads all over my floor, my crafting. Let's use this plum because I love that color. And let's just, how many? Okay. You would definitely need like 1 bag per color, and I think once you use the bag, I think it would probably kind of be done. Oops. Oh, put a hole right in the bottom of the bag. That's okay. Let's bring in another paper towel. Let's move those over a little bit. Let's just drop these right onto the paper towel. Okay. Have lots of paper towel handy for this project. Okay, and then I kind of think the bag was actually easier. Just want to spread them out a little bit. Okay, let's just wipe off my tweezers. Now, how are we going to tell if they're dry? Well, I think we just pick one up. Oh, nothing's coming off onto my glove. I think it was this one. Back here. And, oh, that's kind of hard. Let me, okay. Didn't want to get too much all over, and I didn't know what kind of trouble I would get into. Hands are a little bit sweaty now, but let's pick this one up. Definitely nothing coming off on my hand. Just trying to, nothing coming off there. I want to grab a needle. I want to make sure that the holes are not plugged up. So I got a little, just a needle I would normally use. Well, maybe not normally use, but needle that I would use for things like this. And it's just, that goes through perfectly fine. Don't see nothing coming off on a needle, so it doesn't plug up the holes, which is nice. Some of these pearl beads are horrible anyways for the needles, or the holes. Try this little one. Now that one there, this won't go through, but I think it's the size of the needle. Now, this one might have came out of this bag. There was a tiny little bit, and there's a tiny little bit on the needle. So that might have been one of the ones that fell out of the bag. So I don't really know how long it's going to take to dry. I would probably leave them sit out for a while. There's nothing coming off on those. What about these green ones? Oh, a little bit on there, but these have also been sitting on the wet paper towel. Oh, you see that one? There must have been alcohol ink in the hole of the bead. So that is something to think about. See that one there as well? Came out. So yes, it's definitely something to think about. These do feel dry. It's hard to tell now because I've got stuff on my fingers from... Well, there's no purple coming off of these. Oops. If I was going to do lots, I'd definitely do some kind of setup where they're not going to roll off my table. Keeping the colors separate. Well, I would do one at a time, and I'd do like a handful. I do love this color. And purple beads are one beads that is probably my least amount of purple that is purple. I've got lots of blues, lots of greens, lots of browns, lots of blacks, which I very rarely use black. Like I say, I had tons and tons of these cheap pearl beads. I don't even know if they're all cheap. You know, a lot of these came from all that jewelry that I purchased. I took apart a lot of necklaces that had strings on them, etc., because the strings are broken, and some of the strings literally just disintegrated because who knows how old they were. So that's why I decided, and white, of course, is the most popular color. So I think this is a success. Now, could I use something else, like maybe Tim Holtz inks? Very possibly. I thought about the alcohol inks because I've got a fair bit and I don't use it. Could I use shimmer mists, maybe? Kim Newberg recently did a video on dyeing fabric with old ink cartridges. Now, something like that might work as well. I think you need an intense color and a color that will stick, that's permanent. Like, I've dyed metal with alcohol inks and it's worked. Will it keep the color forever? I have no idea. What happens if you start putting it in water? Well, I'm not going to be putting any of my beaded tassels and whatnot in water anyways. I think it would hold up a little bit with water, but, you know, can you send it through your dishwasher? Probably not. But I think this is nice. I like the colors. Some are, like if you look at this one here, you can see, hopefully it focuses when I bring it up, but you can see it's kind of mottled. It's not all just one color. Now this is a little bit different bead than some of the other ones, but even this one here, like you can see that where it was sitting down, but that's okay. That gives that bead that much more character. And now this was one, I think this was the one that I did the gold in, and then being that the gold didn't work, I added the stream blue, and I think that could be why, because more of these seem to be colored like that than what these. The other one I think was this green that I had the silver in, and it's the same there. You can see different dots, a little more than the other one, so that might be a good way to A, use these up, and B, make a little bit more mottled bead, just because of these two colors seem to have more of that. This one here is almost half green on one side and half white on the other. Kind of hard to see them, I know. Not sure if I can pick this up without losing them all. Very carefully. But that gives you kind of an idea. Now I'm thinking, I don't have like a ton of clear beads, but I'm thinking you could probably do clear beads as well. Maybe even any pale colored beads. I mean, you couldn't do black or anything like that. I wouldn't think. maybe you could. I don't know. I do think the bag was a little bit easier. If I was going to do them this way, I think I'd put them maybe like in a pill bottle or something like that, that I could put the beads in, put the color in, and then just shake them around. That might work. The stirring, yeah, that wasn't the best. It worked. But, yeah, I've got some little bottles. So I might even try that if I'm going to do any amount. And then I'll just save the bottles for next time. But they'll be plastic, so, you know, I can use them for other stuff. I think I've even got some spray bottles, so I could use the colors in it. All kinds of possibilities. But let me know, would this be something that you would do? Would this be something that you have tried? Just putting all the purples together. Just because I kind of want to see if I can see any differences, which it doesn't really look like it. They pretty much all look the same. The beads, the bags were easier. Definitely were easier. And I think I would try to get some kind of trays. I've got some beading trays that, you know, put a little piece of paper towel in the bottom, and then once I took them out of the bag, they could go in there to dry. I wouldn't do like thousands of beads like this, but I would definitely like divide a bunch of these up into however many colors that I wanted and go from there. I don't think I have any colors like this, and definitely no colors that look like this purple. These could go with oranges or browns, even yellows. I don't think I have a yellow, but yellow's not a color I use much of. The green, I've got lots of green beads, but I think this was a successful experiment. I will do more, and then I'll do another video maybe on all the ones that I do. But let me know what you thought about this experiment. Let me know what else you think would work good for dyeing these other than alcohol inks. If you've ever dyed beads, let me know what you've used. Let me know your process. If you've ever made a video or something, let me know, because I would love to watch it. Check out all my other videos. I've done a number of dyeing videos. Because there's so many things that we can dye. And I look more and more for white stuff, just so that way I can dye it as many colors as I want. Laces and trims, I love finding white. I've dyed embroidery floss. I've dyed eyelash trim. I've dyed zippers. Of course, doilies and all that kind of stuff. There's tons of stuff that we can dye if we have the white stuff to dye it with. Hope that makes sense. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed my colored fingers. But check out all the videos. Check out the Facebook group, shops, all that stuff. Like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. It really, really does help a channel. And we'll see you again soon in another video. Bye for now.